It really started in 2016, that self-realization that, I really wasn't doing more with my life. You know, looking around me and what everyone else my age was doing, I felt that, I just couldn't be like them.
Hi everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Nogat Mahn. As usual, it's me, your host, and
Yeah, Mr. Yellow Beanie, back again.
Yellow Beanie is still with us. Going strong, going strong. Thank you.
I've cursed myself. I can't wear another color now. I bought like a whole bunch of beanies as well.
Nah, Yellow Beanie is right. Good. It's a good match.
It's okay, I'll wear a different color. You just change it in post.
Okay.
Give you more work. Earn your pay. But he doesn't get paid, but still.
Oh man, I need an editor. Honestly, I need an editor. But thanks a lot for tuning in. If you're on Spotify listening to this, thank you so much.
We're on Spotify
Yeah, we're on
now.
Spotify
legit.
finally, guys.
We're legit.
Check it out. We just upload. I just uploaded everything, so we're on track now. And next week, when we have the new episode come out, we'll also put it out on Spotify, and I'm trying to put it on Google Podcast and Apple as well. So yeah,
It's nice.
Trying
Get
to
all the bases covered.
diverse.
Yeah, and thank you to everybody who's been like watching, subscribing, and supporting us. It's really good to know that a lot of people are starting to watch and are starting to relate to what we're saying. And we really didn't intend to start growing this thing. It started off just as an idea. It's always MK's idea. He's the brainchild. And the fact that it's growing and we're getting supporters and just people cheering us on, it really means a lot. And we say thank you to everybody who's been following us.
It does. Thank you. Thanks a lot for everybody. If you followed us from day one, I don't want to name. There's a lot of names to name, but thank you everyone who's watched and who's watching. Keep supporting us. And if you want to reach out to us to be part of the show, please message us, me or Chan, whichever you feel more comfortable with.
Yeah, MK.
Yeah, and then we'll get back to you. Okay, today we have a guest on the show that his name is, what's your name, bro?
My name's Burford.
Burford.
Yes.
So Burford has an interesting story that he would like to share with us today.
Where are you from? Introduce yourself.
I'm from East Sepik and Millen Bay.
Okay, nice.
Yes.
What do you do for a living?
I'm a loss adjuster. I basically do insurance claims.
Ooh, nice.
I'm
Okay.
the guy insurance.
Sounds exciting.
Yeah, it does.
It is. I'm the guy insurance companies use to, go about adjusting their claims,
Right.
making
Wow.
sure it's fair, and at the end of the day, basically making sure that they're paying out the right amount
Nice.
appropriately,
So is
compensating
it like
people.
a debt collection type of thing, or
No,
it's different from that?
it's different.
So what's the difference between that and loss?
With this one, with loss adjusting, it's basically us trying to establish what the insurance company should pay, like
Oh,
what
okay.
they're liable to pay out. It's not exaggerating or
Oh, okay,
undercutting, but just straight on
Yeah, okay.
giving
So that
people
the
their
claim is valid and it's
Yes.
whatever they're claiming for, you're paying
Yes.
exactly what it's worth.
giving them their fair share, basically.
Yeah, okay.
Right.
Nice.
It's interesting.
And with debt collecting, you basically already owe someone something, so
Oh,
you have to pay up.
right.
Are you thinking of becoming a loan shark?
Yeah. I was
I'm
thinking,
not aggressive enough to become a loan shark.
no, I'm very
I'm too fun
passive.
and happy and good vibes.
I can ask straight up, be demanding, honestly.
You owe me money, mate.
It's like if you lend someone money, like I'm very generous, I can lend people money, but to collect when they give
Yeah.
back, I struggle with that.
I guess for me too, like I'm genuinely just too much of a nice guy to go out there and forcefully try and get back something I've loaned out. So
Yeah. It's just money, right?
Yeah, it's
money
just
goes
money.
and just comes.
some
Did you always want to do that? Like, is that what you studied for?
I actually studied for a degree in business management.
Okay.
Yeah. So when I got out, I was working as an administration officer with.
Sorry, where did you graduate?
I graduated from Divine Word University.
Oh, okay.
That's a really good school.
Yes. So I was basically an admin officer for 2 years, with Divine Word University's Port Moresby campus.
Okay.
Right.
Former Big Rooster.
Yes.
Yeah.
Was it?
Yeah.
I didn't know.
The one at Waigani opposite
Yeah, the
B-Mobile,
yes,
yeah.
okay.
Yep.
Wow.
That's where you lived in Lay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I grew up in Lay, born and raised. My Lay peeps.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So, after being there for about 2.5 years, I decided to try something new because I've been as a graduate of Divine Word University, I'd already been in the university system for 4 years, and I came out and I worked again for the university, and I'm like, I think I need to go out and really explore what's out there in the world.
Especially when you're young and you're a graduate, you
Yes.
really want to explore as many options as possible.
Yes. So a friend of mine messaged me and they were like, hey, I have an opening here. I'm actually leaving it. My employer needs someone to come and take my place. And I'm like, what do you do? I'm a loss adjuster. I had to Google that.
Ooh, okay.
I had to Google it. And after reading through, I'm like, okay, this looks interesting.
It's like something I can do.
Yeah. Like, personally, for me, I'm like a people person. I like moving around and dealing with people on a daily basis. So after looking at the job description online on Google, I'm like, hey,
You can actually do that, yeah.
This is actually a good fit for me. I should give it a go. So, that's how I ended up starting out basically in 2014. I've been there for the last 8 years.
Wow. So you're enjoying what you're doing?
I do enjoy what I do because not a lot of Papua New Guineans actually in this field of work.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's basically really new. We have about 3 different firms who do this in the country. Nationwide, there's Persons and there's us, Hayden Lloyd and Associates.
That's interesting.
It is.
Really interesting job.
So we're gonna dive into your story outside of your work.
Yes.
That's okay with you.
No worries.
So Victor mentioned to everybody who's watching, we just met him today, and so we're gonna find out his story. Vic didn't give us any details, mind you. So take us through from the start of your story, I should say. Yeah.
Okay, my story goes back to 2014. This was basically around the time where I was switching jobs, That's when I started facing a lot of adversity in my life. I was dealing with a lot personally. It's just so difficult for me at that time because I had never been through any such circumstance in my life. And, I was finding my way at that point in time, dealing with ending one relationship and jumping into another. When you're young, you don't really think too much. You just dive straight in.
Yeah.
I was wild and free. That's the expression. There you go.
In and
I
out.
wasn't too aware of the mental strain it would have on me until, things progressed. And 2014, 15, 16, my daughter came along.
Oh, okay.
Child actually came along, which just changed everything completely for me.
Because another human being now relies on
Yes,
you.
you have to realize that, when your kid comes along, it's not all about you anymore. So at that point in time, it really made me stop and think. I'd stopped a lot of things in my life. Like I was very active throughout my life. Growing up, playing a whole range of sports, rugby league, rugby union, soccer, you name it. I basically tried everything. So it really didn't dawn on me until, one day, I'd obviously put on so much.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Did you stop playing sports for a while?
I did actually.
Yeah, okay.
In order to transition.
When your daughter was born?
Yes.
You had to stop
Yep.
a lot of those activities.
Personally, I felt like I had to transition into that role of being a father. So I decided to cut down on a lot of things.
Sports activities and whatnot.
Physical
I mean,
activity
raising a
and
child takes a lot of...
sports was one of them. So after my daughter came along, obviously was sitting at home, going to work, coming straight, eating as much as I could. Wasn't moving that much.
And your
Actually,
job is high stress as well? Or it's like casual?
it's manageable.
Yeah, okay.
Can be stressful at times depending on the workload that comes through. We operate on a claims basis. So when we get
Yeah.
notifications, that's when we move.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes. So yeah, it really started in 2016, that self-realization that, I really wasn't doing more with my life. Looking around me and what everyone else my age was doing, I felt that, I just couldn't be like them.
Yeah, like you start to question, it's like, what am I doing with my life?
Yes.
Especially if your friends are succeeding at things that or they're just better, for lack of a better word, that is like better off, and it's like, oh, look at these people doing all these things, and then here am I, like, what am I doing with myself? Yeah, I understand the feeling.
Yeah, so I really began questioning myself in 2016, really sitting down to really ask myself how I felt about everything in my life. That's something which I've never done before. And, I slowly started to do things to try to develop this habit of improving myself.
Yeah.
For me, it started with reading a whole bunch of books. All these
What kind of books did you read? Name a few.
I've read a lot by Robert Kiyosaki.
Yeah.
Okay.
Recently, it was a powerful book I read. I just completed in February, Morning Miracles. It's about...
Is it by Robert
Kiyosaki.
Kiyosaki?
I've-
That for that.
Yes.
Guy, I mean, he's known for Rich Dad Poor Dad, but he has a
He has a
lot
whole
of-
range of books. I think I've read like 5 of his books.
Nice.
Okay.
Read so much. I tend to forget the authors sometimes. so
Yeah.
Please
Same,
forgive me.
same.
It's all about digesting
It's
them.
only when I start recommending it to other people, then I was like, oh, what's the author's name?
What's the name?
Thank God for Google. We live in beautiful times.
True.
Where you can
Yes.
just Google whatever you want to Google.
Yes.
Anyway, so Morning Miracle.
Yep. That was the most recent book I've completed. But yeah, going back to the process, in 2016, I really had to sit down and ask myself, honestly, like, if I was happy with myself, deeply happy with everything I've accomplished in my life and where I was at. And, it was really hard at first.
It is. Self-evaluation is really difficult.
It's not something easy when you have to sit there and assess yourself.
Yeah, it's scary because
It-
you confront your thoughts and you run away from them a lot. Like,
Yes.
You tend to escape and run away
Most
from
of us tend to run away from our insecurities
Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
on a daily basis, so we don't want to acknowledge that, we have a problem with this,
Yeah.
this particular area.
It's an instinct. Your brain
Yes.
does that by instinct.
Yes. So after really sitting down and humbling myself enough to, criticize my own
Yeah, accept where you are. Yeah.
situation and accepting where I was, then was I able to slowly make a plan on how I wanted to proceed forward. And one of the biggest components I identified was changing my mindset, basically.
What was one of the books that really stood out to you that you read?
One of the books that really stood out.
Like a staple that you go back to whenever you feel like giving up. You remember that specific chapter or line that says, okay,
There is one, but I can't
You can't
remember the title.
Yeah.
There
that's
is-
all right. Just give us like a line or something.
Like, what's it about?
It's one of Robert Kiyosaki's books, and it's about Rich Dad Poor Dad. Yeah, basically, it's about changing your perception on money.
Yeah.
But like, it talks about money, but you can apply this to
Yeah.
everything else in
I
your
like
life.
that book because one of the things that he talks about in the book is it made me aware of our relationship with money. And then, like, because he grew up, like, his real dad was the poor dad.
Yeah.
And his real dad was like, the church going, the Christian one, and like he believed that money was the root of evil. And then his rich dad was basically his mentor, and he's like, oh no, money is a tool. It's not evil or good. It's not good or evil. It's just a tool, and how you use it determines whether it's good. So that, like for me personally, when I read that book, I was like, oh, okay, I have to change my mindset on how I treat money or how my relationship with money. That was a really good book.
Yeah. That book really opened up my mind. Like it changed the way I looked at
changing
things.
perception on
Yes.
the world and everything.
Like a lot of good books are like that. Like you go into it like, I want to learn how to make money, and you read Rich Dad Poor Dad, and it's like, oh no, this is a book about mindset. I gotta change a lot of stuff before I start seeing changes in my wallet and in my bank account.
So really, after you really begin to realize that it starts in the head, like, that's when you start unlocking everything.
Yeah,
basically.
I think that's empowerment. Like a lot of like empowerment is a really big thing in today's context, like in society. They just talk about empowerment, and I don't think empowerment is giving someone else power. It's helping someone else realize that the power has always been inside of you to change. It's always been with you.
It's always been with you all this time, and I think one of the biggest challenges most Papua New Guineans face is not realizing that potential which lies in them.
Yeah.
That's something I've been very passionate about. Like along my journey, that's something I also share with a lot of other people, trying to help them realize that, you can really change for your own good.
Yeah.
You don't
It's
have
also sad that we don't value ourselves, like as Papua New Guineans. Like we think we don't bring anything to the table in the conversations. We will value foreigners' opinions and their knowledge. I mean, it's good. They carry a wealth of knowledge and experience which we can learn from as well. But then we also bring something to the table, and like when we talked with Jordan, like, that was one of the main things that he was talking about, and we were discussing. It's just how we see ourselves and what we bring to the table. We don't really value it. I mean, even like PNG time is it's something bad. It just talks about how late we are.
Yeah.
We've accepted it as a norm, as a standard.
We've made it a norm in our
It's kind of
society.
sad, and like in order for us to. I think for us to like grow and to change as a society, we have to unlearn those bad habits and stop accepting them as normals. And what we've put a PNG brand and a PNG label on so many negative
so many
things.
bad things.
Yeah, and
So
like
many bad
we just
things.
casually talk with people and I'm PNG, and it's sad that we think this way. And that really, really needs to change in order for us to progress as a people.
I think our problem is we just limit ourselves to this small way of thinking.
Yeah.
We don't open up to what's really available for us as a people.
Yeah.
I mean, the world's changing around us.
Yeah. I think we're so focused on the negatives and what we don't have, and that limits us from focusing on what we do have. And I think when we start focusing on what we do have, and we're constantly waiting, there's something called like a savior complex, where you're just constantly waiting for someone else to come in to save it. It's either the government or it's some charity organization, but you have to really unlearn that. And it's like, okay, wait, what can I do right here, right now to change my situation? And I think when you start thinking that way, a lot of things in your life will start to change, especially in your mind, and then that's it.
I think that's the main problem most people face. It's that savior complex that you mentioned. We're always waiting for something or someone.
The scary thought is that what if they never come?
Yes.
Like
they're never going to come. That's just the fact.
Yeah, like what if the time never comes? What if you're waiting and then you die? Like those are some of the thoughts that like really force me to break my like habits of procrastination. What if that time never comes? Like I have to do something now. It's better to do something now than to wait around.
I think it's gone like that problem that we talk about PNG time.
Yes.
It's all the way back to how we were taught as kids and how we were raised. See, when we were kids, when we did something when we wanted to say something, we were told to shut up because we were kids and we were silenced and we were put in our place to be sort of like the kid, right? We went to school when we did something wrong, when we tried to question the teacher, or we asked them any question, they tell us, you don't know anything, I'm the teacher, I know everything, I'm in front, you're there for a reason. It's not a back and forth situation. It's a me teacher, you student, you line in to you.
Yeah.
So it's like that sort of narrative has been etched in our brains so far down the line that even when we go to university and you learn this thing, lectures in front, we think that they know everything and they're just, perfect and everything like that. So like for us to step out of line and to be different and to question the norm and to try to drive your own narrative and to question the things that it's such a rare like occasion for people to do.
Yes.
And when you do it, you stand out,
You do.
and like it's like people don't like new things, right? They see it as
Yes.
bad, or they see it as, I don't know. It's just something that's not
It's
acceptable.
just out of your comfort zone.
Yeah.
It's just discomfort of being introduced to a new idea
Yes.
or to a new belief. But I think that's important about. I think people misunderstand what having an open mind means.
Yeah.
Having an open mind
True.
doesn't mean you have to accept everything that's being coming. It's just you open to seeing their point of view
Seeing
and their
their point of
perspective,
view,
and then
basically.
seeing whether it suits you or not, or whether it believes you, and then
Yes.
you don't have to necessarily believe everything that's
Yeah.
being presented to you, but you have.
Something you mentioned about the learning and unlearning part. I think Chris Do mentioned this in one of his episodes about a few years back. He said, in this century, in this day and age, in order for you to do big things and for you to progress, you have to be willing to learn and unlearn and relearn.
Yeah.
Yes.
So those are the three things. Like you learn something today, it changes. You have to unlearn it, learn a new thing, and when you do that consistently, that's how you sort of evolve with the times.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
you get better at things.
I think nowadays, what should I say? We're in charge of our own learning basically now. Outside of, especially when you leave that academic environment and you go out into the real world, it's really up to you to
Yeah.
go about furthering your education, giving yourself an education in the real world.
Yeah. And education doesn't mean book smarts. I think
Yes.
we've associated education with academia for far too long, and then when
Yes.
school's over, we stop learning. But you can teach yourself so many different
many
things, like
things.
life skills. Like a big conversation that a lot of people are having is there's so many life skills that are not taught in school,
True.
especially like things like financial literacy, which is a
Finance,
huge thing,
mate.
and then things like taxes and all these kind of things
All
that
these
are kind
things.
of like introduced in business and in commerce, but they're not really thought of how to really survive in the real
Yeah.
world.
Yeah.
And like globally, there are people who are really pushing to change curriculums and
Yes.
to teach kids a bit more being practical ways of living in the real world today that are more relevant. And like I've seen so many, like I took engineering in uni, so like people
Yes.
always joke about like,
You
oh,
took
when was the
engineering?
last time we took? I'm a computer science graduate,
God,
so
I didn't know
engineering,
that.
maths, and all of
Oh,
that.
wow.
I didn't know that. honestly.
That's like, yeah. And then they were
That's
like, when was the
interesting.
last time you used like calculus to figure out things like that? And I laughed at it, but because, it's really it depends on the field. Like engineers use it all the time, but I get the joke. It's like we learn a lot of stuff that is really irrelevant.
Irrelevant.
To day-to-day living.
Yes.
So it's good to, like, especially for me, like I'm starting a business. I've had to teach myself business and all the business fundamentals and all of those things in order for
Yes.
me to run it and to make sure that I don't go broke and hungry and everything and
Yes.
all of that.
So the thing I had to unlearn and relearn recently was that I thought focusing on the creative side of things and being creative, being robust, and
Yeah.
having the new idea would eventually lead to the money will just come along. It's like added benefit. But then I was
Yeah.
wrong. It's like you have to like balance it out. It's like
Yeah.
if you don't have a business model, if you don't have your business side of things figured out, how do you expect to make money?
Yeah.
It's like
That was a knowledge gap for me. And just recently, I've realized that I have had to stop thinking like a creative and start thinking like an entrepreneur and a businessman. And I'm in the business of creativity, and that changes things for me. So
Yes.
creativity is what I do, but it's my business. I'm actually a businessman. I run a business, and I had to start thinking like a businessman in order for me to survive in the business world.
totally.
True.
Sorry, we're sidetracking to our stuff now.
No worries.
Carry on, Nogat, carry on.
Continue, my
Continue
friend.
from
But
where you
yeah,
left. Sorry.
I'll continue on. After deciding to change my mindset, then I sat down, made up a few goals, and one of them was to get back on track physically with my fitness and the way I looked and felt about myself. So yeah, it dawned on me one day when I actually bent over to tie my own shoelace, and I was so out of breath.
Ooh, yeah. How old were you
I
then?
can relate.
I was probably 28.
Oh,
How old are you now?
I'm 33 now.
Oh man, you look younger than me. honestly.
Oh, thank you.
diet. It's just exercise. Eh?
Yeah.
Looking after yourself is
Yeah.
the fountain of youth.
I honestly thought like you were in like late 20s.
I take that as a compliment.
No, serious.
That's what he tells people.
But yeah, after that one moment, it really dawned on me. I'm like, what am I doing to myself?
Yeah,
I'm
you
like,
also think like I'm too young to be.
I'm too young to be feeling this way. I'm too young to have limited mobility.
Yeah.
How much did you weigh?
I was probably around 110 at the time of going, between 110 and 115. I was floating between that mark.
How much do you weigh now?
Latest, I'm 98 now.
Oh, nice. Big drop.
Just last week, I jumped on the scales at NGLM Cargo. So,
Most reliable one.
yeah.
Honestly.
But
Not
yes.
bad. Congrats. That's a really big.
So after that one point in time, it just really pushed me to really get back on track. So, but it wasn't easy. Like,
What did you start off with?
I started off walking with the easiest thing I could do, which was just to walk every day.
Yeah, starting
5
is always
days.
the hard thing. People try to complicate everything.
Yeah.
Just
People try to complicate things and they're like, oh, we need to go straight in and get started in the gym.
Yeah.
But, it's more or less you trying to improve your confidence in yourself once again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have to build your self-confidence up to a point where you're able to progress and do more. So for me, it started with walking. And then walking led to running. And then after that, I started doing a bit of compound at home with the weights I had, deadlifts, dumbbells. And then I actually signed up for Capital Fitness over at
Oh, nice.
Yes,
they're
with
good.
Leonard.
Yep.
I actually walked in there. Like I just made up my mind. I'm like, I'm confident enough now. I'm ready to move
Get
on
into the
to a
gym,
new
yeah.
challenge. I need to push myself. I just went in there after New Year.
What year was that?
It's 2022 now. 2020.
Ooh, in the middle
Yeah.
of COVID, man. That's dedication.
Yeah.
Yeah.
COVID messed up a lot of things for
Yeah,
us.
it did.
Are we allowed to say COVID? Because
Yeah.
I don't know, YouTube censors stuff. So.
Yeah, YouTube.
Coco, I'll call it Coco now.
Yeah.
Rona. Let's go Rona.
So yes, after going in there and getting started, I haven't turned back since. I've been in and out of that environment. So basically I've been trying to focus on improving my mobility, and
Yeah.
I'm not too worried about looking too big,
Yep.
but yeah.
Yeah,
Just
especially
to-
as you get older, you
Yeah.
notice things about your joints that I was like,
Yes.
I don't want to be like pushing 40, 50 and like already in a wheelchair or have
Yeah.
arthritis.
Just basically trying to strengthen my body again.
Right.
And
Have
get
you made
back.
any diet changes? Like, while you were starting to walk, did you change anything to how you were eating?
I didn't at first. I guess that was part of the learning curve.
Yeah, yeah,
So
it is, it is.
that's a big mistake most of us make.
Yeah.
We don't change other things to complement what we're doing.
We just thought the
It's
exercise.
something like
I'm like, I'm working out. I can eat more.
yeah, like some
2
people,
plates at dinner.
I think like a lot of people feel the need like I have to get it right on the first try, and they don't
Yeah.
allow themselves to like edit themselves constantly. Just
Yeah.
try something. If it doesn't work for me, then try something else, and then until they find. Some people just like this is my program. I'm going to go with it, and then if they fail, they feel miserable
Yeah,
about
they're
themselves.
like,
Like
And then they
I
just-
tried it and I gave up, but like they didn't try it another way.
No one perseveres, basically.
Yeah.
You don't get this right the first time.
Yeah.
Like I've been doing this since 2016. Yeah, like it just didn't happen overnight. And
yeah.
I've had a lot of moments where I stopped, had a 2-3 month layover, and then I started again. After readjusting my approach.
Yeah.
Nothing. It's basically been trial and error for me.
Yeah.
Like we all have a unique body type.
Yeah.
Basically, so it's about finding what works for you.
Yeah, there's no one solution for
Yep.
all. Everybody's different. You have to find what works
What
for you.
works
and then,
for you. So even diet-wise too, I've tried it. I've tried most things. I've been on a keto diet.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
The keto diet.
Even
What
a
is it? What
low
is- what
carb keto.
Kettle.
Yeah, keto.
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 Keto is
You Americans say keto,
Yeah.
okay. So,
So,
it's kettle.
but that one
Yes.
sounds fun because you eat like fats and
Really?
carbs.
Yeah.
I've never tried keto.
It's interesting. I've read, just read about it.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, that's interesting.
It worked for me. I mean, I did get into it, but I'm like, I feel like this is not for me. I can't keep
Yeah.
it up.
Yeah.
And like
Yeah, so going back to the
Keto.
keto diet.
keto, yeah.
The kettle.
How long did you try that for, and then
I think
what are you on now?
3 months.
Wow.
3 months, okay.
I just basically wanted to find something I could be consistent with doing.
Right.
Yeah.
There are all this fancy stuff out there, but you have to find something you can do here in Papua
Yeah,
New Guinea.
exactly. I mean, you can't like bullshit around. Like
Yeah.
our cost of living is ridiculous.
It's ridiculous.
And people are just pushing the narrative, health and fitness and dieting and everything, but it's
Yes.
not affordable to
It
everyone
is not.
inside. So
It's
you
an
have to make the most.
expensive exercise.
But you can't let that be an
seriously.
excuse. You
Yeah.
have to make the most of what you have, and if you're just smart about it, and especially now that we have access to internet, you can teach yourself so much, and you can just trial and error everything.
So yeah, after that, I've bounced around in a few more different diets, and I'm finally settling for intermittent fasting.
Mm-hmm.
I'm limiting my meals to 2 meals a day. So
Yeah.
Nice.
That's the most affordable.
yeah,
That is, and it's free, bro.
and it's free.
Yeah, mate.
I do that as well. It's been really good.
Yeah, it really does wonders. Like, there's a lot of scientific research to prove that fasting is actually quite beneficial for you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Gives your body enough time to carry out its functions as well.
Yeah.
I mean, that's one thing. We spend so much time eating that after we're asleep, our body is digesting the food.
Yeah.
It doesn't have time to carry out the other processes like
Yeah.
filtering and
Yeah,
healing.
It really, like, I've been learning about getting your body, like, especially scheduling your sleep, like setting your body,
Yes.
because intermittent fasting teaches you when to eat, so your
Yes.
body is prepared when to like kick on all the digestive functions. Like, oh, this is when this guy's gonna eat, and when to sleep, like all those functions. And the more you stick to a routine, like your body is just in a
Adjusted
regular
to it,
cycle. And once
Yeah.
you just if you're all over the place, then your body is all over the place as well.
Yes.
And then it really affects your energy. How do you feel like your energy wise?
I feel good.
Yeah. I like it as well. Like,
At first, it's hard, but
No, mate.
it takes your body
Yeah.
time to adjust.
yeah.
And once it settles down into it, then yeah, you're good to go.
You get the flow
Yeah.
of it.
Yeah,
You just have to get over that hump.
that hump.
Yes.
That hump that your
The
body is
first,
like,
my curve was like 1-2 weeks, say 8 days max. I had like in the morning when I wake up, like I was so hungry at times, and then
Yes.
I thought, no, maybe just like water, apple cider. I find that apple cider helped like kill the hunger.
It does.
And
did
then,
you drink it every morning or just like during the day?
No, just so I had 1 liter water, and it's like every
Okay,
time
okay.
I just sip
Nice.
like drought.
I take a cup like the first thing in the morning.
Yeah, I heard that really cleanses out.
Yeah, I just do that and then that's it.
It does.
So you don't have to drink it on.
No, I just like pour like a teaspoon in a cup and then just dunk it and then carry on with my day.
I like to suffer, so I just.
It's
drink.
okay. You're teaching. If that works for you, my boy. If that
Yep.
works for you.
Whatever works for you.
Yeah.
As long as you're seeing the results,
Yes.
that's it.
As long as you are comfortable with it and it's something you can
Yeah, and you
maintain.
should enjoy it. Like
Yeah.
it shouldn't be it's suffering and it's pain and it's
and-
everything. Like you should, at the end of the day, it should become something that you enjoy and
Yes.
it gives you fulfillment. And if it's causing you pain and discomfort and just like making your life miserable, then
Should stop.
try something else.
Maybe
you know?
you need to
Take a
think
different
of
approach.
another
Yeah.
approach.
Exactly.
Definitely.
But it pays off. I think when you focus on the results and what it's gonna pay off in the long run, I think a lot of people and nowadays we just want just immediate, like I just
Yes.
want it now. And then when we don't see it, we just give up and we just go back to what is comfortable. But
Yeah.
it hurts us in the long run. So
It does.
I mean, too many people. I mean, lifestyle diseases is a causing factor to
Yep.
a lot of deaths.
It's a real thing and
Yeah,
it's
like
happening.
it's a real problem right now. So.
It is.
You have young guys falling dead
Yeah, it's
regularly,
scary.
and it's scary. Like,
It's really scary. So
seriously is.
It was like 2019, 2020. And like during COVID, a lot of people were like just dropping and dying.
Yes.
And most of the causes after an autopsy or after like medical examiner, they said it's just a lifestyle disease, Like the kidney failed from too much drinking or lack of exercise caused like high cholesterol around their heart and they died.
yeah.
It's very like that was actually around the time when I too like was suffering. I had like weak knees, and man, waking up in the morning was dreadful for me because it
Yep.
was like I had migraines for no reason, and I was like, why is
Do you
that?
still get those? Or no.
Nah, man, I wake up like a friggin'
I can
horse
rel-
now.
I can relate because my joints were pretty bad at the time. I had lower back pain as well, and like
Yeah.
it was something which really killed me. Like so hard to move some days, like
Yeah.
just suffering in
Yeah.
silence.
When was it like, when did you start noticing results and then you were like, okay, this is actually working? Whether it was like the walking or the dieting, which one was it? Was like a moment where you're like, okay, this is it. Like, it's actually working.
It was actually when I started going to Primal Capital that I was actually able to see my
Results.
progress. Like
Yeah.
it really hit me at that point in time. Like I'd already built a good foundation outside before moving in, so I was able to transition well into it.
And keep up with because they do a lot of high intensity
Yeah.
circuit training.
They do a lot of
Primal
hits
fitness.
and
Primal.
Is
Primal
that
is-
it?
primal movement. Yes.
Yeah, then it is really, really good.
It's really good.
Shout out to you, Leonard.
Yeah. Good. And when did you start noticing like your weight was becoming manageable?
Basically,
Were you on a diet when you joined Primal?
I actually started committing myself to fasting when I joined Primal.
Okay.
That was
Okay.
when I started experimenting with it, and it really started
Just like
working
Jerry
for me.
experimenting with all kinds of diets.
Self-experimentation is nice.
It is.
Just stay safe, yo. Don't die.
Yep.
Yeah.
Don't die in the process.
Don't do anything
The world
you're
needs you.
not comfortable with.
Yeah.
No. But just to like help other people who might or may not be in your situation, what would be like something you want to tell them to help them get started?
Start with the easiest thing possible. Whatever you feel comfortable with. It can just be regular walks every afternoon. And firstly, build that confidence in yourself. Improve your self-esteem, basically. I think a lot of these issues come back to how we look at ourselves. I mean, some of us have really low self-esteem and translates into our physical appearance.
Yeah.
So the more you work on yourself internally as well, it also translates to what's on the outside.
Yeah. Like just a segue, like body image, like a lot of people don't know that men suffer from body image issues as well.
Yes.
Like it's not like where women
It's
face
not
it and
just
they're
women.
not always concerned about their looks. There are men out there as well who feel inadequate about how they look and everything. So, but there are things that you can do to change
Yep.
how you think and how you look. Think about yourself.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for joining us on the show.
Yes.
Appreciate you coming by.
Thank you very
I think
much.
this camera is dead.
Love it.
So yeah, I will drop your social below, everybody. If you want to follow him, give him a follow. Thanks a lot for watching. Appreciate your time, everyone.
Thanks.
Peace.
Like and subscribe.
Yeah, we should do that off the name. We don't
Like
tell
and
people to
subscribe.
like and
No,
subscribe.
get lost. Nobody cares about you.
Bye, Florence.
All right, peace out, guys. Thank you so much, Burford, for joining us.
No worries.
Good one, bro. That was really good.
Thanks, bro.